Welcome, welcome, welcome to this very special edition of the Wednesdays at One show. In case you don't know, we meet here every Wednesday on my Facebook, on my Twitch, and on my YouTube, and we talk about all kinds of things. Today, I have a very, very special guest. Her name is Kristen Standish. She is a CEO. She's a mom. She's someone who really gets it and gets things done on so many levels. I'm not doing her really any justice in this introduction, but we're going to bring her in. You're going to talk to her, and I want to encourage you guys to ask questions, make a comment, let us know where you are and what you're doing, because in today's show, we are actually going to give away a $25 gift card. And that's you're already doing half of the tasks needed to win. You're watching. Now all you have to do is leave a comment, and that's it. You're eligible to win, and we'll announce the winner at the end. So, without really any further delay, I'm going to bring in Miss Kristen Standish. She's outstanding. And we are excited to have her here today. Kristen, thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you, Eric, for having me. I'm thrilled to join you and look forward to talking.
Yes. So what I want to do first is I just want to hear a little bit about your background. Now, we know that you are a certified boss lady. You're a CEO, you get things done, but let's go back a little bit and talk about maybe how you got to this point in your career and in your life.
Oh my gosh, well, how much time do we have? I started my career, I've pretty much been based in Boston since I started my career back in, I want to say 1995. At the Boston Phoenix, where I worked for Stephen Mindish and, really was able to work for Alternative News Weekly, which was so fun. And we had WFNX as our sister radio station. And I met some of the most talented people in the industry, and they're still friends and in the business. And then I launched Stuff at Night magazine, which I created under the generosity of Stephen Mindish, allowing me to create a magazine about nightlife in Boston. I think I was 27 years old and I was publishing a magazine. I launched the Worcester Phoenix when I was with Stephen, and created an alternative news weekly out in Worcester with my colleagues, and sold ads door to door to bars and restaurants, and drove an hour and a half every day to get to work and back, and listened to Howard Stern on my commute out there, just to show you how long he's been around. And then I went into the big world of rock radio and went to work for WBCN. Many of the people listening to this show won't remember any of these places because sadly they're all gone, which just kind of lays the foundation for why I pivoted into what I'm doing now. Had a great run at BCN. I loved it. I was at the Super Bowl when we won in Houston. I was fortunate enough to host Tom Brady's family in our BCN suite. So I got to know them and Tom, and just the most gracious, lovely people. We're rooting for you, Tom. And then I went to work for Janet Robinson at the New York Times, at the Boston Globe. Worst job of my life. Hated it. Sorry. Not sorry. Then left there. Went back to the Phoenix, which was crazy, and worked there for a bit. And then let's see. I worked for a national visitor publication, Wear Magazine, and ran like 36 markets. In between that, I had my gorgeous, awesome daughter did my own stint of a consulting firm so I could be with her a bit more, and loved that. And then came and worked for Grapevine, and decided when I was turning 50 years old and working in an industry that was crumbling around me, I needed to kind of reinvent myself, and figured my daughter spent most of her time on YouTube and bought everything directly from her favorite creators, and saw that that was really where the audience and eyeballs were on their screens. So I said, aha, I think I should pivot into this world of influencers and creators and learn the new way of the world, and did that like 2.5 years ago, and was fortunate enough to be part of an acquisition where the existing CEO is moving on, and they geared me up to become the CEO, and then voila, here I am, and proud to launch a new division of the company, Grapevine Shops, with my co-founder Charity Richens, and I'm really excited to take things to the next level.
Well, needless to say, Kristen, you've done everything, right? You've done everything in this space. And so I know that you bring a lot of that expertise, that experience, and just a sort of innate knowledge of what people want and need in your lane. And I'm sure that that serves you well every day. So before I continue on with your journey, I want to make sure that I'm letting people know that when you watch, please chime in. We already have my good friend Sean. He's tuning in from Las Vegas, Nevada. Thank you, Sean. You are entered, as is Erica Lambie. Hemingway, she is incredible. She's looking forward to learning more. And as a radio gal herself, I know that she knows all of those mile markers that you were talking about in your professional journey. And Julissa Pinkney. Now, you may not know the name Julissa Pinkney, but you may know the name Malia the Model. She is a local rap artist and just a artist extraordinaire. And we're happy to have her and to have everyone who's watching. And so that's it in terms of how you enter. Is just leave a comment, say where you're from, ask a question. We want to hear all of it, and we can see. I feel the same way, Sean. This is an impressive resume. I think we could probably spend Wednesdays at One Show on each leg of your journey, just going on and on about all the things that you've done during the course of everything. So we're gonna do a little bit. We're not gonna cover the whole journey, but we are going to talk about Grapevine Market and Grapevine Shops, because I am obsessed already, right? Just as I started to get to know about the brand and what you guys do. And it's something that I know a lot of people are interested in these days. So let me just sort of fast forward in your career journey here.
Can I just say something?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Please do.
I forgot to mention my favorite job in the whole wide world, which I was so proud of. The publisher of Boston Magazine, which really was, so important to me, and all of the events that we created through that. And that reason why I forgot that was because I was thinking so much about how it has shaped where I want to take Grapevine Village in the sense of community and audience and events and things like that. So I can't believe I forgot that. Sorry.
It's a very important. No, it's a very important point, and I'm glad you brought it up. And it kind of leads us into where we're going in terms of talking about Grapevine Market, talking about Grapevine Shops. And what I'm really impressed by is that Grapevine Market existed. You came on as the CEO, and then during the tenure, you created Grapevine Shops. Am I right? Do I get that right?
Yes. So walking into the position, Grapevine Grapevine was an established SaaS platform which connected brands to influencers directly through a technology. It also had an enterprise side of the business, which was quite established, still is, where we work as an agency on behalf of Fortune 500 brands like Coca-Cola, Anheuser-Busch, Pernod Ricard, to recruit influencers, to come up with influencer strategy, and really advise them and select the best influencers that we can, that have the most engagement. And we have a platform that provides data and analytics that sync up with creators' Instagram, YouTube, so that we can really share good data with brands. So that was what we were doing. The challenge with that is that you become very brand reliant. Just like magazines and radio stations, you have to sell ads to support your enterprise. And I was a little nervous about being so brand reliant all the time because, God forbid, as we all know, you lose one big client, it takes a lot to replace that client. So I thought it would be really cool if we decided to go to an e-commerce strategy, and this was before COVID hit, where we would work with small emerging brands and help them go to market, help them scale through what we call a trust economy. So I had the great luck of conceptualizing this before the pandemic. And then when the pandemic hit, it really reinforced e-commerce and how important it was to small businesses. I mean, storefronts were shuttering, restaurants were closing. How are these folks going to continue to make a living? And we provided a marketplace and a platform for them to really transact and create, sales, etc. So the timing for us was perfect. These brands needed help. And we had a captured audience, and the timing was really good for us.
So that's great. And I think one of the very important points is that, listen, if you're an influencer out there and you need a good partner, I mean, you mentioned Anheuser-Busch and Coca-Cola. I mean, those are sort of the top of the pyramid. But then at the same time, you talked about people who really maybe are just kind of getting going in their brand or company or business journey. So that's a wide spectrum of people, and the ability to serve sort of both ends of those spectrums, both ends of that spectrum, means that you have a pretty big tent that people can come under and feel pretty comfortable there.
Yes. I mean, the enterprise side of the business is our bread and butter. We have to continue to do a wonderful job servicing those clients. I can remember we launched Flower Beauty, which is Drew Barrymore's brand. We do a ton of business with Mesa Beauty, which creates all of these beauty lines. We have strong tentacles in the enterprise side of our business, but we have to hold on to that. We were still, bootstrapping it and scrappy, but we're putting our real, heavy focus on the e-commerce side. And through being in the business for 25 years, I've had the good fortune of working with a lot of wonderful people that we were able to reach out to as we were, proof of concept, if you will, fleshing this concept out, that joined the platform really early. And one of the things that I wanted to do was reach out to women-founded, minority-founded, mission-driven brands, people that care about giving back, that have a social kind of conscience, and really listen to them on some of the things that they needed help with. And we shaped the company kind of around some of those folks. And, these folks include Caroline from Smiling Button, who was with us from the beginning, Diego Della Palma, Dr. Miller, and who I work with at Boston Magazine, and his weight loss brands, and some skincare lines. And then I was like, I'm so passionate about food. I created events like Battle of the Burger at Boston Magazine and the Q, along with my colleagues there. And I just was like, everybody's home. We're hungry. We're cooking. Let me reach out to some of my friends that are in the food business. And I was holding out as well with my co-founder Charity. We needed the right foundation to give back to. And at my years in Boston Magazine, my Epicurean events always benefited a couple of organizations, and one of them really matters to me a lot. The other ones did too, but I had a relationship with Carla Tardif, who is the CEO of Family Reach. And I reached out to her because I recognized that this was the organization that we wanted to support. I knew I had a relationship there. I also knew Ming Tsai, who is the front-facing animal behind that machine that really galvanizes the cooking community, and he does events, Cooking Live, that we ended up partnering with and sponsoring. And we officially named Family Reach the organization that we give 10% of our proceeds back to on everything we sell on shops. And it reacquainted me with Ming, and lo and behold, Ming was launching a line of Bings, which is a healthy kind of fast food, if you will, that has it's a superfood. And at the same time, literally within like 2 weeks of us launching, he was launching, and we formed the relationship with Ming, brought the Bings onto the site, signed Family Reach on, and all of a sudden there was this just really great synergy there with our partners, with the organization that we're giving back to, and the food community, which I love and have been part of for so long. Reaching back to those folks that you have relationships with kind of means everything when you're launching something new, because they have to know who you are. They have to believe in you. They have to trust what you're doing. And I think all of us had that same need to give back and to kind of be the anti-Amazon, if you will, where we curate the brands. We only want to work with like-minded partners. We want to help them grow and scale. They have to be, minority owned or female owned and operated, or have some really awesome, compelling story. And, they have to be willing to want to give back. And that's kind of how it all works. That's my daughter, Abby.
Yeah. And this really sort of summarizes how you feel and the approach you have to business. Now, I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to play a video, a Grapevine video. I know you're familiar with it, but I want for my audience to see it. Just before we do that, let's check in on our comments. Lisa Bell, thank you so much. Love Grapevine Shop. So nice to know that everything's available for sale. Has run through Kristen's filter. That's right. Talk about a woman with great taste. And yes, let me just tell you guys, when you go to the Grapevine website, there is an elegance, there's a sophistication, but there's also this very hip now today vibe. It's really worth your time. And for the lucky winner of the $25 gift card, they're going to be able to go to those sites and shop with a little bit of money in their pocket, which is the best way to shop, by the way. And I want to make sure that I bring in, Andy Lyons, thank you for showing some love to us today. I so appreciate you. You're another incredible woman who works with a lot of women and minority-owned businesses. So thank you for tuning in. And you are now eligible. So let me go to the video, and we'll play that, and then we'll come back on the other side, and we'll continue to talk more. Guys, continue to chime in with your comments for that $25 gift card. Let's go to the video. Okay, and we're back. I'm not sure if everybody could hear that or not, and so I apologize if you couldn't, but I think that even the visuals on this were so spectacular. It really had we really had an opportunity to see the type of brands, the depth and the breadth of brands, but I think that it's something that's so exciting. And I'm going to tell you, I know for a fact that there are some influencers or wannabe influencers who are watching right now. And I want to ask you, Kristen, if there are, what do you look for when you're looking for influencers? How do you go about choosing them and then matching them with brands?
Sure. So I have a team of awesome young people that live on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, and they are so passionate about influencer community. They follow all of the trends, and a lot of them seek influencers. We invite to join the platform. Sometimes brands will have a list of influencers that they've worked with that we invite onto the platform. um, this morning I did a tutorial with a makeup artist who wants to become an influencer. She was great. She wants to build up her YouTube. We're going to work with her because she's local. We loved her. We loved her work. So there's so many different ways that we engage with influencers. I follow a lot of them, like Lisa Donovan from, Kiss 108. She's a huge influencer. She happens to be on radio, but she also happens to, have quite a large following on Instagram. So we work with a myriad of different influencers, from the nano influencer, which is probably someone like me who has a small following, but they're my real friends and I love them and they believe in what I have to say. And then you have the micro influencer, which is between 10 and 50,000. They have really strong engagement. Then we have like the power middle, and then we have the superstar influencers as well as actors and radio hosts and things like that. The one thing about Grapevine is we vet you. You can't just join the platform. We verify if your followers are real. We have feedback from people that have worked with you. We get a rating so our brands can trust them. We make sure that all of our influencers are compliant with the regulations for posting content if it is paid for. We only want to work with best in class, with great reputations, ones that are really organic and reputable. And that's kind of how it works. We have over 100,000 of them on our platform, and a lot of influencers. So, it's really important that we have work for them because if they're going to stay engaged in our community, we need to be able to provide them with campaigns to work on, which is another reason why we launched Grapevine Shops, because now we have so much more control over the volume of brands that we work with. And all of those folks are utilizing influencers as well as paid advertising, et cetera, to help them promote and scale their brands.
No, that's great. That is great information, because I think all of us, we kind of think of ourselves as maybe micro influencers. Like I have influence over, a group of people maybe, or, I have a good network, or, like myself, I've been around for 1,000 years. So I just know a lot of people. So I can at the very least reach out to people. But I think going from the sort of, I have influence over a small group of people, to actually being an engine for a brand, that's a whole different thing. So I think that, the idea that maybe an influencer or wannabe influencer out there can either be contacted by you, or maybe they reach out to you. And maybe it's just a matter of, you know what, we like you, we're going to vet you. We may have a place for you, we may not. Here's where you need to work. Here's what you need to do. Here are some of the numbers maybe that correspond. Although I hear you saying it's not 100% a numbers driven thing in terms of your influencers. But I think that this is a good place for anyone out there who's thinking about being in the influencer lane to really take a look at what Grapevine is doing and use that as a guide. Let me just bring in a couple of other quick comments. Erica, what is her favorite product service right now that she's featuring?
Ooh, good question. So I'll give you a couple of different answers to that because in the food category, I've been literally living on Ming's Bings at home. I just love them. They are so good. They're healthy. They're only 160 calories. You fry them up in a pan. Oh, there you go. I don't have a microwave. I don't believe in microwave. So I love this superfood. It's delicious. It's easy to make, and they're healthy and only 160 calories. So I love that. Conversely, I am a big, oh God, I love to eat and drink. It's just like two of my favorite things to do. So I love cooking. I'm always cooking with my daughter in the kitchen. And I've been experimenting with Tony Ambrose's Spice Alchemy line, which I love. It's just so amazing. I cooked some amazing halibut with it this weekend. And my daughter loves cooking with me, so I love to do that. There's a skincare line that I love called Cara, and they're on shops. And Diego de la Palma eyebrow pencil. As a redhead, it's really hard to get your eyebrows right. So those would be kind of my favorite right now. And then also to go with all of that, one needs a tasty rye, and I love Boston Harbor Distillery's Putnam Rye.
Okay, now you're sort of talking my language now. Okay, and here's a great question from Sean. My niece just started her own candle business called Clever Pebbles PDX. I find myself sharing a website and business cards on social media, but for someone who's literally just starting out, what's the advice you can pass along so that she's putting her best foot forward? Thank you so much for that, Sean.
That's great. I love that question because those are the types of brands we work with. One, make sure your e-commerce site is really easy to use. Like, make it as simple for people to buy you as possible. Make sure you sync up with Shopify. I think they're, top in class, and they have all sorts of templates that make you look bigger than you are. Really make sure you can deliver and fulfill your clients' orders quickly, and grow your followers, grow your organic following as much as you can to get people to know who you are. Use Instagram, especially for a candle company. I think that's great. But I would definitely make sure when you post on Instagram, or anybody does, that you give them a way to purchase. Oftentimes I'll see people promoting a brand, but it doesn't link back to how you buy it. And, a link in bio can accomplish that. And also too, if she is ready to fulfill orders, has Shopify, has a good story to tell, I'd love to look at her line.
Oh, wow. That is really generous of you, Kristen. That's incredible.
We don't have a yet, so I've been looking.
Oh, okay. So that's a great little sort of nugget. I know you're not going to do this for everybody who chimes in necessarily. Maybe you will. I don't know. But that's a great thing. So I just want to we're kind of about halfway through the show. I want to make sure that people know that we have an incredible contest going, right? You're watching, you're commenting. For anyone who's still watching and hasn't commented live, make sure you get your entry in just by leaving a comment. It may lead to a relationship with Grapevine, and that's invaluable. That's a lot more valuable than $25. But I'm going to tell you, just in time for Valentine's Day, people, we have this incredible, incredible opportunity, right, to make someone's dreams come true for Valentine's Day, right?
Oh, I love it.
And some of the things that you have, your shops, your brands, your items, they're perfect for Valentine's Day. Am I right or am I right?
They are, and we have some really cute packages up on the site, and like a breakfast in bed is something that I love. My daughter makes me breakfast in bed all the time. I love it, and it's One Mighty Mill bagels with Genoa tea, and I just love the tea from Genoa tea. It is locally made and it is scrumptious, and I love that little package. So there's all sorts of cute little combos that support local business, and they're curated by our team.
So that is wonderful. Now, Kristen, we've had a chance to talk a little bit beforehand, before we had you come on the show. And I want to make sure that everybody really understands. We're kind of entering the second half of the show, so it's almost like a reset.
Mm-hmm.
If you would, for me, will you just walk us through first Grapevine Market, sort of the big tent, and then within Grapevine shops, starting with Grapevine Market.
Village. Okay, so Grapevine Village is
or Village. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So if you look at like an umbrella, Grapevine Village is the umbrella under which Grapevine shops exist. Grapevine Village is a community of over 100,000 influencers that are on a platform that we work with enterprise brands to source creators on the enterprise platform. So that is our Coca-Cola business, our Anheuser-Busch, our Flower Beauty, Stella Artois, you see there. We're basically an agency where we work to strategize on influencer content, paid advertising for these brands to really have organic, authentic influencer strategies. And then Shops is a division of Grapevine Village that is an e-commerce marketplace where we source and curate small emerging mission-driven brands in our e-commerce platform. So the hope too is that once these small brands come into our flywheel, they become enterprise clients because we've done a great job with them when they're little babies and we help bring them up and we love them and we care for them. And then when they become big, it's our hope that they don't kick us into a nursing home and that they take care of us along the way and that we have this symbiotic partnership for a long time to come. So instead of, us just banking on brands finding us through marketing and thought leadership and SEM and SEO, we're actually going out and finding brands and helping them grow and scale and then bring them in to become bigger brands. And as their needs grow, we can service them through the Village side of our business. I hope that makes sense. And giving more work to our influencers as well. They're part of the whole kind of trust economy here, where we're utilizing the influencers to help us preach the good word of these brands to their followers. When I first joined, I was a little suspect on influencer marketing because I was a snob. I worked in traditional, media for Marty Barron from the Washington Post, and I prided myself on church and state, and God forbid, the editorial team came down to the low-level advertising department at Boston Magazine. I mean, there was this real church and state. And to me, influencer marketing really blurred that line. But as I've grown and learned, I'm like, wow, these guys are massive editors of their own channels and content. And I, great respect for a lot of them now, especially watching my daughter and her friends. Let me tell you, they don't even know what cable is. They don't know what network TV is. Everything they watch is on YouTube. These creators are, like the Disney to them and the Holy Grail, and it's real. And these folks have taken the time to build their audience and the trust, and they really have, earned the right to do this type of work and influence over their audience. They have great stories to tell, and people believe and love them. So it's, it's really fascinating to be part of this and learn and become, a leader of a company that I really was suspicious on as I joined. And that's an age thing. I'm sure it's an age thing. My daughter's growing up with it. And that's her way of form of entertainment. For us, it wasn't. So it's pretty interesting.
No, the barriers are down. And what I hear you saying is that this is, in a sense, a sort of curated incubator for emerging businesses, emerging brands, emerging influencers, but also the ability to serve at the other end, the Anheuser-Busch's of the world, which are, as big as it gets. And
Right.
I think I've been around probably a lot longer than you have, but I remember having those exact same conversations in the newsroom, in my early part of my career, and then in the conference room in the latter part of my career when I was working more in PR and marketing, where there is not that church and state anymore. Really, sort of everything is everything, for better or for worse. Now, I wouldn't say that it's always perfectly it perfectly serves the maybe general public or even the brands or the people involved.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there is a lot of everything is everything. There is a kid out there somewhere who can do my job as a marketer better than me.
Mm-hmm.
My job as a PR person, my job as a video producer, my job as a live streamer. There's a kid out there somewhere who can do all of that better than me. And I've been around for a long time. I have a lot of experience. But once you sort of maybe put your own professional arrogance or ego or just your ability and your faith in your own abilities to the side and recognize and accept that there's some people out there that can do some things that you're just not capable of doing just by virtue of, I don't spend hours and hours on social media. Using that expertise to reach the people that I want to reach, that's something that people have that maybe I'll just never have because it's not how I grew up. And it's great that you recognize that.
Well, in order to stay alive, I kind of had to. I was in newspaper and magazines when the internet started, and we refused to believe that we would lose audience to digital. We refused to accept that people's habits change and you need to adapt. And that's why, sadly, so many publications disappeared. This is a great example. The other day, I subscribed to the New York Times online, and guess what I got for free? The magazine. The magazine came with a paid online subscription.
Wow.
You can imagine the horror and that I felt when, the magazine is what drove the online. You gave the online away for free, and now it's completely reversed. So, you have to be willing to understand that market conditions, you can't fight things that they're happening, whether or not you refuse to believe that, people don't pick up magazines anymore, sadly. I still subscribe to them, but my daughter probably never will. And,
Right.
but what she subscribes to are, monthly gaming things or meal kits or YouTube subscribe. She belongs to community. She consumes content just in a very different way. So you have to be able to adapt. And, if you want to keep food on your table, and as an aging woman in a dying industry, that was my major concern was how am I going to stay relevant? How am I going to be a good role model for my daughter? How do I continue to do what I love and still do it and not be like worrying about the flood of how do I replace those ad dollars that are going away in print and just managing decline. I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to work in something that's emerging and fun in the next, keep me working for the next 70 till I'm 70, which is how long I'm going to have to work at least to keep up, with all the bills and things like that. But I
Well,
like to have fun.
let me ask you, how do you interface with, quote unquote, traditional media, like a magazine or like television or like something that's a little more, old school, maybe even, other print publications, maybe a newspaper or something like that. What's your best interaction with the still existing traditional media platforms that are out there?
Sure. So obviously, we have PR that we were just through our awesome efforts of our PR firm DPA. We ended up in gift guide for USA Today. That still matters. We were on WBZ radio, and talking about. We were on Matt Robinson's show on WBZ, and they were talking about Grapevine shops. I mean, I got text messages from my neighbor, a phone call from my old radio friends. I just heard you on, WBZ. So we still do listen to that. Yesterday, I reached out to Lisa Donovan at Kiss 108. I grew up listening to Maddie in the morning. My daughter and I listened to Maddie in the morning every day driving to school, like 40 years later. I have a little money to spend for ads. The first person I reached out to was Lisa Donovan because I want to be on Kiss 108. I know that people still
Yes.
listen to radio. I know that, if we can get an article in Boston Magazine or the Globe, that is such credibility and so important. And I have great friends that are still working in those industries. And I'm not saying I still subscribe to the Globe. I still subscribe to the Washington Post, Boston Magazine. I love all that stuff. And I hope to God it sticks around and that there's a resurgence to return to, reading books. I have a whole library of hardcover, beautiful poetry books for my daughter. And I encourage her to read the actual book and show it to her friends. And I hope to God it never goes away because it's just, I have ink in my veins, and I still believe in those venues and outlets and support my colleagues and friends that are in that. I just knew, geez, when you're at the top of the masthead, there's a lot of really talented younger people out there that want your spot. And I was like, oh, I don't know that I want to keep doing this. So I every day interact with traditional media folks, and I just decided that I needed to move out of that into a different space.
No, I mean, we all have had to adapt in one way or another, particularly during COVID. You mentioned a little bit earlier that you had this sort of idea that you were going to go forward with just before COVID struck. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit more about the adjustments that you've had to make, that we've all had to make, but specifically um, with Grapevine? What are some of the adjustments you've had to make due to conditions associated with the pandemic?
Well, I mean, it's, I have people all over the country working remotely now. We were all in a beautiful office in downtown Boston. I got rid of that office. I now am on Newbury Street, which I love, my own old stomping ground. I'm in a little shared showroom with Alan Rouleau, who's a longtime friend of mine and contemporary. We've both been around for a really long time. And, I have a little space here and I'm the only one that comes into the office. My COO had to move to Utah. our kids went to school together in, best friends. And that's actually how we co-founded Grapevine Shops, was standing on the sidewalk, commiserating together about, what we wanted to do with the next part of our lives. And I hired her. Um, Being able to have tools to support, working remotely. But the biggest thing was, how the hell do you be working, starting a new company while your child is at home, homeschooling, and just adapting to all of that while launching a company was crazy, really. But it just showed the determination and the talent of the team that we had. And it worked out really well. And then the way that we were coming about our business, people were so much more receptive to talking to us, because everyone was hurting. Everyone was trying to figure out, where do I go? And we were actually,
Yes.
kind of a beacon of light at a point where people were really scared and struggling. And we were fortunate to have the support and backing of our parent company, and they believed in what we were doing, and we were given the latitude and the financing to move forward with our vision. And so again, I go back to luck, because if you can have all the talent and money in the world, but you got to have some luck. And I have been lucky with timing and good fortune.
Well, I think it's a little bit more than luck, Kristen. You are really talented. I had a chance to meet your team once, and your team is incredible. This is something that I want people to hear. I want people to hear these success stories. We've heard a lot of doom and gloom. We don't know where we are in terms of the finish line, but to see you and your young, dynamic team going to work and still continuing to build this brand, it's inspiring to me. I'm hopeful it's inspiring to everybody who's watching. So, on that note, I really want to thank you. Before we begin to wrap up, I just want to remind everybody that we are doing a giveaway. So, if you haven't had a chance to comment, we're going to be wrapping up. Get your comments in. That's how you enter to win. We'll announce it at the end. That almost rhymed, and I don't know how, but it almost did. But in these last few minutes, I want to ask you, Kristen, to let people know about how they can be involved with Grapevine, how they can reach you, what they should be looking for coming up in the future, and how we go forward, and how maybe Grapevine can become a part of their lives. Because it's already, in the short time that I've been involved, it's already kind of changed how I look at things and what's possible and who's out there. So I want you to be able to share a little bit of that with our audience.
Sure. So if you're a creator, please go to Grapevine Village and apply to be a creator on our platform. We manually and physically go through and vet them all. I don't, my awesome team does. If you are a brand, please check us out at Grapevine Village for our enterprise services. Follow us on Instagram, please, at Grapevine Village and Grapevine Shops. If you are looking for interesting, awesome brands to support, please go to Grapevine Shops, our website. Look for us in our ads on Instagram and Facebook, and you can discover great brands. If you know somebody that has an awesome brand that fits those filters of minority owned or women owned, has a great story, awesome product, shoot us an email. We'll check them out. I personally have a call with all of the brands that want to work with us, as long as they meet those filters, and that that we can sync up and actually help them scale and monetize. please do that. And really just, be a community, be good to each other, help each other out. If you think of somebody that should reach out to us, has something great to sell, but maybe just doesn't have the capital to put a lot of money behind the ads, we can help with that. So that's about it.
So important. And Andy wanted to make sure that we knew that luck equals prepared for when the opportunity shows up. And she's giving you a You Glow Goddess, which is a high honor from Andy Lyons.
Oh, thank you, Andy. I love that. You glow goddess. You too.
And then just our last few comments before we begin to figure out how we're going to pick our winner. As always, great show, Eric. Thank you so much, Kristen. Yes, I have to thank you because I know that you're busy. You are always on the go between being a certified boss lady, that's what I like to call you, and being a mom and being an innovator and making sure you're on top of things. And what I liked a lot that you said multiple times is like when people interact with you, when people submit whatever it is, an idea or whatever, however they interact with you, it just doesn't go into some analytical bot that kind of processes it. There are real people at the end of those correspondence. Sometimes it's even you directly, the CEO of the company, who's responding to people who are interacting with Grapevine.
Yeah, I think that's really important, and that's a differentiator from an Amazon or other big companies. Yeah, we take the calls, we take the emails, we meet with the brands. And I have to tell you just quickly, somebody that was kind of a mentor to me was Barry Sloan at Century Bank, and his father, he's since passed away, but he put his email and phone number on the website. And as a customer of that bank, if you needed anything, you could call him directly. And he answered his own phone. And this
Wow.
was up until he passed away a few years ago, and now his son does that. And I always thought, oh my gosh, what type of bank does that anymore? And they're not small. And I just thought that was so authentic, and it made me want to do business with them. I just love that philosophy. And if you can do it for as long as you can, do it, because it really sets you apart from a bot, just data analytics. The whole world has gone to kind of pot on that front. So, if you can help each other out and create a good community and goodwill while doing it and have fun, why not?
That is an incredible philosophy and something that really shined through in our now 1 hour together. So, Kristen, thank you so much. So, I want to, just before we sign off, I want to make sure that we pick the winner. Now, there's already been a couple of winners today because I know that there are some influencers that are watching and they've heard this information. I know that there are some people from traditional media who maybe are looking for different avenues to do the things that they want and need to do. I know that you have already promised to talk to my friend Sean's niece, which is incredible. I mean, maybe not you personally, but that Grapevine will evaluate my friend Sean's niece's candle company.
Yes.
That's about as much of a bank shot as we can possibly pull off. But I love it, and that speaks to the spirit of your company, which is so authentic and valuable in today's time. So thank you very much. So let me go into my comments here. And Kristen, I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 25. Give me that number and I will choose that comment.
8.
Okay, let's see here.
8 is great. I love 8.
And it is Josephine Gandolfo.
Awesome. That's
She
wonderful.
says, hello, looking forward to today's show. She is our 8th commenter that I'm seeing here, if I'm counting right. If I'm not, don't yell at me, people. Go and check out the site anyway. I want to congratulate Josephine for winning the $25 gift certificate. I also want to say thank you to every single one of you who has watched today and will watch after the fact. And I most especially want to thank our star of the show, the Wednesdays at 1 show. Her name is Kristen Standish. She is a certified boss lady. That's not on her business card. She
I'm putting it
is
on there.
she is a CEO. She is a mother. She is an innovator. She's authentic. She gets stuff done. So, on behalf of the Wednesdays at 1 show, I want to say thank you. I want to say continued success. And I want to say to my audience out there, we'll see you next Wednesday at 1.
Thank you, Eric.